There's a table in every home. Some are spotless, some are cluttered, some haven't hosted a shared meal in weeks. But no matter what it looks like, the dining table holds something more than dishes and chairs. It holds the unspoken energy of the household. It reflects how we connect, how we care, and whether the atmosphere in our home supports peace or quietly drains it. You might have felt it yourself. Some homes just feel warm the moment you step in. Meals are lighthearted, voices are soft, time slows down. And then there are homes where dinners feel heavy, conversations are short or tense. Everyone eats quickly, distracted, or not together at all, and it's not always because of stress or schedules or even relationships. Often, it's the energy of the space itself. Today, we're going to explore something simple, one small item placed on your dining table, in the right way, that can shift the emotional tone of your home and open the door for calm, clarity, and even prosperity to return. This isn't about superstition. It's not about trends, rituals, or lucky charms. It's about how your environment shapes your emotional well-being and how small, mindful changes can help you restore the balance that modern life so often disrupts. I've spent years helping families understand why wealth seems to slip away, why peace becomes harder to hold onto, and how the very space we live in can either support us or make things feel stuck. And what I've seen time and time again is this: when the heart of the home, the dining table, is treated with care, everything begins to shift. Not overnight, not magically, but gently and naturally. So today we'll begin there, at the center of the home. At the table where food is shared, where laughter used to echo, where connection might still be waiting. Let's see what happens when we bring just one intentional change to that space. Part 1: True prosperity begins with a warm meal. There's something sacred about the dining table, not in a religious way, but in the way a place becomes sacred when people keep returning to it, again and again, with hunger and hope. It's where birthdays are remembered, where bad news gets softened, where someone still asks, "How was your day?" even when no one feels like talking. But over time, that table can go quiet. Not all at once. First, it's the phones. Then it's the silence. Then it's everyone eating at different times or not at all. And soon, the meals are no longer shared, they're just consumed. But here's something most people don't realize: when the warmth leaves the table, it doesn't just affect how we eat, it shapes how we feel, how we spend, and how secure we feel in our own homes. A home that no longer gathers around the table is a home where energy starts to scatter. You can feel it in the air. Things feel rushed, tight, disconnected. Conversations are short, eye contact is rare, and emotions stay tucked away. And where there's no warmth, there's no holding. Even money starts to slip. Because true prosperity, real, lasting abundance, doesn't grow from effort alone. It grows from energy that is calm, consistent, and connected. The kind of energy that starts quietly at a dinner table. See, a warm meal is more than food. It's a signal. It says, "You matter." It says we're still a family, even if things aren't perfect. It's in the way we pass a plate, pour a glass of water, notice when someone didn't eat much. Prosperity begins when people feel seen. It strengthens when there's peace in the room. It stays when the space holds safety. And in a culture that's always rushing, from emails to errands to endless headlines, it's easy to forget how much our home mirrors us. A chaotic meal creates chaotic energy. But a calm, present meal, that creates flow. And flow is what keeps prosperity from slipping through your fingers. Think of the last time you truly felt rich, not in money, but in spirit. Maybe it was a simple Sunday dinner where the light was soft and the laughter came easy. Maybe it was a Tuesday night where your daughter told you a story she'd never shared. Maybe it was the smell of something familiar from your childhood, warming the kitchen just enough to feel like home again. That feeling, that's wealth. And it begins with the meal. It's not about gourmet dishes or Pinterest-perfect decor. It's about emotional nourishment. It's about how the people at the table make each other feel. Because when people feel emotionally starved, money alone can't fix it. But when people feel emotionally fed, even the simplest life feels abundant. That's why your table matters. That's why one warm, intentional meal has more power than 100 rushed ones. That's why setting the table, yes, even when no one's coming over, is an act of quiet abundance. The table reflects the heart of the home. And when the heart is tended to, gently and daily, everything else starts to shift. Conflicts ease, finances stabilize, children soften, even the air begins to feel lighter. So if your home has felt scattered, if money has felt hard to hold on to, if peace feels like a guest that never stays long, don't look outside first. Look at your table. Ask yourself, when was the last time it felt like a place of connection, not just convenience? When was the last time it felt warm not from heat, but from presence? When was the last time your family sat down not because they had to but because they wanted to? The answers to those questions might just lead you back to something deeper than routine. They might lead you back to flow, to warmth, to the quiet beginning of something prosperous. All starting with the simplest act, a warm meal, shared with care, under the roof you call home. Part 2. Place this one thing on your table, and fortune finds its way home. Not all tables need fixing. Some just need a gentle reminder of what they used to hold. The scent of real flowers, a touch of green, something alive, breathing softly in the center, reminding the whole room that life is still moving, still growing, still possible. One of the most overlooked changes you can make to invite peace and prosperity into your home is placing a single living element like a small vase of fresh flowers or a green plant at the heart of your dining table. Not off to the side. Not tucked behind the salt and pepper, right at the center. Why? Because the center of the table is more than a space, it's an energetic anchor. It quietly influences how the entire room feels, how conversations unfold, and whether people lean in or pull away. A fresh flower carries energy that a fake one never could. It's alive, it breathes, it shifts with the light. And that aliveness subtly encourages openness, tenderness, presence. When you bring something living to your table, you're telling your home and everyone in it that growth is welcome here, that beauty matters, that the ordinary is worth elevating. And that's where fortune begins to change, not through lottery tickets or lucky charms, but through intentional care, through creating a space that feels emotionally alive. There's something quiet and powerful that happens when a vase of yellow tulips or soft white lilies sits calmly at the center of a table. Meals feel less rushed, words soften, even silence feels different, less like distance, more like ease. And this isn't spiritual fluff. It's emotional truth, because people respond to energy whether they believe in it or not. We all know the difference between walking into a space that feels fresh, warm, and cared for and one that feels cold, cluttered, or forgotten. Flowers change the tone without saying a word. Green plants do the same, a small money tree, a few stalks of lucky bamboo, even a low-maintenance ZZ plant. They all hold something steady, something rooted. They remind you that what grows slowly often lasts longer. But placement matters. The center of the table is where energy gets shared. When your plant sits too far off to the side, it divides. Some people feel more connected, others left out. But when it's centered, it distributes. It balances, and slowly the room begins to feel that balance too. Now let's talk about what not to place. Wilted flowers are not neutral, they signal decline. Dried flowers may look elegant, but they hold no life. Artificial plants are even trickier, they give the illusion of nature without the energy of it. They're still, unchanging, unmoving. And that's not the energy you want in the heart of your home. If you're trying to build a space where love can grow, where money can stay, where people can reconnect, then the things on your table need to mirror that intention. Fresh, balanced, alive. Let's be honest, it's easier to ignore the center of the table than to care for it. Life gets busy, flowers fade, water spills, but so does connection, so does warmth, so does wealth, not all at once, quietly, slowly, subtly. That's why this one shift matters, because it doesn't demand much. A 5-minute grocery run, a weekly change of water. A small act that whispers to the home, I haven't forgotten this space. I still believe in what it can hold. And your home listens. It always has. Over time, families who place something living and beautiful at the center of their table start to notice small changes. Meals linger longer. Conversations go deeper. Arguments soften faster. Finances feel less tight. These are not miracles, they are signals. You tend the center, and the rest begins to steady itself. And maybe that's what fortune really is, not a sudden windfall, but a space that feels safe, warm, and worth returning to. A space where nothing grand needs to happen, because everything simple already matters. A space where you can breathe, eat, talk, or just sit and know the table is holding something good. So if you're looking for change, don't search for something big. Start with something small. One vase, one plant, one moment of care. Place it right at the heart of the table and let that be the first sign to your home that fortune is welcome here. Part 3. The silent pair that keeps good energy from leaking salt and water. Sometimes, fortune doesn't leave all at once. It drips, it seeps, it fades slowly through the cracks we don't even notice. A home can look beautiful on the outside and still feel empty. still feel like something's off, unsettled, like you're always just a little behind financially, emotionally, energetically. And most of the time, it's not because we're doing something wrong. It's because we've forgotten to protect what's right. That's where salt and water come in, not as rituals, not as magic, but as quiet, physical ways to anchor the emotional energy of your home. Salt is cleansing. Water is flowing. Together, they create a balance that helps the atmosphere around your dining table feel stable, clear, and calm. And that's exactly what money needs to stay. Prosperity doesn't stay in chaos. It stays where there's clarity, where emotions aren't swirling out of control, where the space feels settled, cared for, and peaceful. Let's start with salt. A simple bowl of dry sea salt, placed with care on your dining table, does more than sit there. It holds, it absorbs, it protects. In both Eastern and Western traditions, salt has long been a symbol of preservation, of grounding, of stability. And emotionally, that's exactly what it does. When placed at the table, salt quietly soaks up the invisible tension that builds up in daily life, stressful conversations, financial worry, emotional distance. It helps calm the undercurrent. But here's what matters most: the salt must be clean, dry, and contained in its own bowl. Never scattered, never spilled. Because spilled salt doesn't just make a mess, it represents energy slipping away. It symbolizes opportunities dissolving, savings draining, safety becoming fragile. A bowl of salt, placed intentionally, becomes a small act of care that says, this home holds what matters. Nothing leaks here. Now water. If salt is the foundation, water is the flow. It moves. It adapts. It carries emotion and energy in a way that's both gentle and powerful. A clear glass of fresh water on the table is more than symbolic. It sets the tone. It says, we are open, we are steady, we welcome what's next. But like salt, the care is in the details. The water must be clear, fresh, replaced daily. If it sits too long, becomes cloudy, or is forgotten, it begins to stagnate. And stagnant water doesn't just look dull, it feels dull. It holds the energy of things unmoving, blocked, tired. Replacing the water each morning is a quiet way to say, today is new, today we begin again. It doesn't need to be dramatic. No declarations, no elaborate steps. Just a glass, a gentle hand, and a quiet intention to keep things flowing, not rushed, not forced, just steady. Together, salt and water form a silent pair. They don't sparkle. They don't draw attention. But they do something far more powerful. They hold the emotional and energetic integrity of your table. And when your table holds steady, your life begins to reflect that same steadiness. Money becomes easier to manage. Conversations feel less tense. Small irritations stop becoming big ones. Because you've created a space where energy knows what to do, where it stays when it needs to stay, and flows when it needs to move. So ask yourself, what energy is your table holding right now? Is it heavy, scattered, cluttered with bills, keys, unopened mail? Or is it quiet, focused, soft around the edges? Does it invite peace or mirror pressure? If you're not sure, start small. A bowl of salt, a glass of water. Let them sit where everyone can see, but not in the way. Let them remind the room that this table matters, that this home holds presence, that here we pay attention even in the smallest things. Because it's not about the salt or the water, it's about what they represent: protection and possibility, grounding and movement, holding and releasing, the very balance that wealth and peace are built on. Part 4, light a warm glow, and your home begins to breathe again. There's a certain kind of light that doesn't just let you see, it lets you feel. It softens the edges of a room. It calms your breath. It makes silence feel safe. And in a world flooded with harsh blue light, glowing screens, and non-stop stimulation, that kind of light is rare. But it's also deeply needed, especially at the center of your home. Warm light, golden, soft, gentle, isn't just decorative. It's energetic. It carries a message. It tells the room you can rest here. You can speak kindly here. You can return to yourself here. And that message is what makes prosperity feel safe enough to stay. When you light a candle or turn on a warm-toned lamp near your dining table, you're doing more than illuminating a space. You're awakening energy that may have gone dormant. You're inviting presence back to the room. Because light doesn't just brighten, it connects. It brings people back into view, into focus, into relationship. It changes the mood without saying a word. Think about the difference between eating under a cold fluorescent bulb versus a soft amber glow. Under harsh light, everything feels exposed, rushed, transactional. But in warm light, something shifts. People linger, eyes meet. Food tastes fuller, words come easier. The table becomes more than a surface, it becomes a space of warmth, belonging, memory. And that's what prosperity craves. Not just financial readiness, but emotional readiness. Because money, like people, gravitates toward warmth. It stays where it feels welcomed, not just wanted. It thrives where there is flow, not force. And light is what makes that flow visible. A single candle can shift an entire evening. It can take an ordinary meal and turn it into a moment. Not because the food changed, but because the feeling did. Candlelight signals care. It says this matters. You matter. And that signal settles into the air, into the people sitting nearby, into the energy that carries through the rest of the home. This isn't about aesthetics or style. It's about what your space is communicating, even when no one's speaking. Cold light creates distance. Warm light creates intimacy. Intimacy builds trust. Trust opens hearts. And open hearts attract abundance not just emotionally, but energetically. You don't need expensive fixtures. You don't need scented candles that overwhelm the room. Just something simple, soft, and intentional. A small lamp with a golden hue. A plain candle lit during dinner. Even 5 minutes of warm light can begin to shift the way your home feels and what it invites in. But choose carefully. Avoid blue-toned LEDs or overly bright bulbs. Avoid scents that are too sharp or artificial. Instead, reach for the gentler ones: a cinnamon to spark energy, vanilla to calm, orange to uplift. Let the scent and the glow work together quietly, invisibly, but effectively. Because your home is always listening. It responds not just to what you do, but to how you do it. Light it with warmth, and it will begin to soften. Light it with intention, and it will begin to open. And in that openness, wealth has a place to land. Not flashily, not overnight, but steadily, like a breath finally being exhaled after years of holding. So tonight, maybe don't reach for the remote just yet. Maybe light a small candle first. Maybe let the room go a little quiet. Maybe just sit, not to fix anything, but to feel, to remember what your home used to hold and what it still can. Because sometimes, prosperity doesn't need to be summoned. It just needs to be welcomed. And the warmest welcome begins with light. Part 5. Even the color of your food can help prosperity bloom. Most people think of food as fuel, something we prepare out of necessity, eat on autopilot, and forget as soon as the dishes are done. But food is more than fuel, it's frequency. It's color, mood, memory. It's the energy we invite into our bodies and into our homes. And when you begin to see food this way, even the color of what's on your plate can begin to shape what's happening in your life. Color affects energy. We know this instinctively. We decorate rooms in warm tones to feel cozy. We wear brighter clothes when we want to feel confident. But in the kitchen, and especially at the table, color is often an afterthought. And that's where we miss an opportunity. Because the colors you choose to cook with, serve, and eat don't just feed your body. They feed the energy around you. They set the emotional tone for the meal. And that tone quietly shapes your sense of abundance, joy, and flow. Let's start with yellow. Yellow is warmth. It's stability. It's the feeling of enough. In nature, yellow is found in ripe fruit, golden fields, sunlight at the end of a long day. It's the color of calm assurance. On your table, yellow foods send the message you are provided for. Think golden potatoes, turmeric rice, roasted corn, pumpkin soup, sweet potatoes, warm bread, or even a honey-colored tea. These are not extravagant ingredients, but they hold emotional weight. They signal comfort, home, nourishment. And when that feeling reaches the nervous system, it creates the safety prosperity needs to stay. Now red. Red is joy. It's activation. It wakes up the room. It lifts the mood. Even just a touch of red cherry tomatoes, roasted peppers, a glaze on meat, a bowl of strawberries adds a feeling of vibrance and motion. Red invites celebration, connection, movement. It energizes. And when used gently, it balances the steady calm of yellow with a spark of enthusiasm and life. You don't need every meal to look like a rainbow. You don't need to overthink or complicate your cooking. But a little awareness goes a long way. A warm bowl with hints of yellow and red doesn't just look appetizing, it tells a story. A story of balance, of fullness, of life moving in the right direction. And beyond the energy, there's something else. Color helps people connect. Bright, inviting food invites people to the table. It invites conversation. It signals care. When someone takes the time to prepare food that looks alive, the room responds. People slow down, they compliment, they smile. They remember. In a culture where so many meals are eaten on the go, in the car, over the sink, or in front of a screen, this is a small but meaningful shift. It doesn't require gourmet skill or fancy ingredients. It just requires intention. Choosing meals that not only nourish but uplift. That add color not just to the plate, but to the atmosphere. Because a colorful meal has rhythm. It draws the eye, it signals presence. And presence is the foundation of prosperity, because when we're present, we stop rushing. We stop leaking energy. We feel what we have. And feeling what we have is what allows us to receive more. So maybe tonight, instead of rushing dinner or reheating something frozen, you add one warm element, a little turmeric, a handful of cherry tomatoes, a slice of roasted squash, something small but alive with color. Let it do what color does best, softly shape the emotion of the moment, because prosperity doesn't always arrive in big ways. Sometimes it blooms, quietly, in a bowl of something warm and yellow. Sometimes it sparkles in the red glaze of a dish shared with someone you love. And sometimes, it grows not from what we eat but from how we feel when we eat it. Even your food can speak prosperity if you let it. Part 6. 5 things on your table that could be blocking wealth right now. You can place all the right things on your table: fresh flowers, warm light, thoughtful meals, and still feel like something is off. Sometimes, it's not what's missing that matters most. It's what shouldn't be there. Because just as certain items can invite prosperity, others can quietly push it away. Not with drama or loud signals, but with slow, silent friction that builds over time. And most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. Start with the one almost everyone overlooks: wallets and handbags. They seem harmless, just something we toss down after a long day. But these are not neutral objects. They carry the weight of the outside world: dust, tension, rushed energy, even stress from errands or work. And they also hold something deeply personal: our financial energy. When placed on the dining table, they shift the energy of the space from shared and nurturing to private and guarded. That subtle change weakens the sense of peace and stability at the table. Over time, the message becomes clear: wealth enters, but doesn't stay. Next, bills, invoices, and anything that speaks of debt or financial pressure. These carry a frequency of worry even if you're not consciously thinking about them. When placed where meals are shared, they plant quiet seeds of scarcity. The dinner table should be a place of restoration, not financial confrontation. Eating next to a pile of unpaid bills might seem normal, but emotionally, it creates an undercurrent of lack. And wealth cannot rest where the energy feels tense or incomplete. Third, cracked or chipped plates, bowls, or glasses. These often stay in use out of habit or frugality. But in energy terms, they reflect fragmentation. A cracked plate might still function, but it silently communicates we keep what's broken. That message, when repeated daily, influences the emotional tone of your home. And that tone echoes through your finances, your relationships, your ability to receive and hold abundance. Wholeness isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. Choosing to replace what's damaged isn't wasteful, it's symbolic. It's a quiet affirmation we are ready to receive intact. Fourth, knives, scissors, or any sharp tools left on the table. These are symbols of cutting, separating, and harshness. They disrupt harmony and invite friction. Even if you're not actively using them, their presence changes the emotional texture of the space. Sharp energy, even in objects, can create sharp emotions: irritation, impatience, miscommunication. Tuck them away. Let the table be a soft, safe place, not one of edges and tension. And finally, electronic devices: phones, tablets, remote controls. This might be the hardest one, because we've grown used to constant digital presence. But when a screen sits at the table, real presence disappears. The table stops being a place of connection and becomes a place of distraction. Eyes are down, responses are shorter, emotions get buffered, and the quiet, invisible bond that ties a home together weakens. Over time, the dining table loses its soul. It becomes functional, not foundational. And that's when prosperity slips, not in finances alone, but in emotional richness, in meaning, in depth. None of these items are bad. They just belong elsewhere. The table is sacred not because of tradition, but because of function. It holds the daily emotional energy of the family. And what it holds, it multiplies. Clutter, it multiplies. Overwhelm, conflict, it echoes that tension. But care, intention, it magnifies those. So tonight, pause. Look at your table not with judgment, but with curiosity. What has been resting there too long? What doesn't belong anymore? What would it feel like to clear it, not just physically but emotionally? Because creating space for prosperity isn't about adding more. It's often about removing what blocks the flow, clearing the way for warmth, ease, and fortune to finally have room to breathe. Part 7. A 3-day ritual to bring back luck, laughter, and peace. Some shifts don't need weeks. They don't need a complete home makeover or a long list of changes. Sometimes all it takes is 3 quiet evenings. Not to fix everything, but to invite something better in. Because when your home feels heavy, disconnected, or just tough, it's not always about what's broken. It's often about what's been forgotten. And this simple 3-day ritual is a way to remember. You don't need candles from a special store. You don't need prayers, incense, or belief in anything mystical. All you need is your presence and a little care. Do this ritual in the evening, after dinner, when the house has slowed down. When the day is behind you and the quiet has begun. Step 1. Light. Use a small warm lamp or a candle with soft golden light. Nothing flashy. Just something that gives the space a gentle glow. This is your signal not to the universe, but to yourself that something new is beginning. That light is returning. Step 2. Fresh flowers. A small vase with a few fresh blooms, nothing extravagant. Just something living, soft, and placed right in the center of the table. It brings breath back into the room. It lifts the energy gently, like the first warm breeze after winter. Step 3. A bowl of salt and a glass of clean water. Place them beside the flowers. The salt absorbs what needs to leave. The water keeps things flowing. Together, they hold the room steady. Quiet guardians of emotional balance. Step 4. Wash your hands slowly with warm water. This is not about cleanliness, it's about release. Let the water carry away the noise of the day, the tension, the distraction, the rush. Let it mark a moment of reset. Step 5. Sit at the table. Rest your hands gently, palms down. Close your eyes, breathe deeply. Then softly say the words, "I invite prosperity to settle peacefully in this home." Say it 3 times, not as a command, but as an offering. Speak it into the space with calm, and let the words land where they will. And then, do nothing. Just sit. Let the space hold you. Let the light flicker. Let the stillness become a presence. You may notice nothing dramatic on the first night. That's okay. Energy doesn't always arrive with noise, but by the 2nd or 3rd day, something often begins to shift. The house feels lighter, meals feel easier, conversations become softer, not perfect, just more present. That presence is what invites wealth, not just financial wealth, but the wealth of ease, of connection, of warmth that stays. Because this ritual isn't about attracting luck like it's a prize. It's about making your home ready to receive what's already trying to come to you but has been turned away by noise, clutter, or neglect. When you light the candle, place the flowers, set the salt and water, and sit with intention, you're saying, "I'm ready now." And your home listens. So try this for 3 evenings. Make it gentle. Make it yours. Let it be less about performance and more about permission. Give your home permission to shift. Give yourself permission to feel supported again. And you might just hear something you haven't heard in a while. A soft laugh from the kitchen. A longer hug. A quiet sense of "we're okay." That's how you know the ritual is working, not through signs, but through sensations. Through warmth returning to the very heart of your home. Final prosperity was never just about numbers in a bank account. It was never just about luck, hard work, or timing. It was about space in your home, space in your heart, space in your day to feel, to connect, to breathe. What we've explored together isn't complicated. A flower in the center of your table, a bowl of salt, a glass of water, a small glow of light, the color of your food, the way you clear what no longer belongs. These are quiet changes, but they speak. They speak to the energy of your home. They speak to the part of you that's tired of trying harder and is ready to try softer. Because energy isn't a mystery, it's a mirror. Your home reflects you just as you reflect it. When it feels chaotic, your emotions follow. When it feels calm, your thoughts begin to settle. And when the heart of your home, the dining table, is tended to with care, something powerful begins to happen. Conversations open, rest returns, money moves with less resistance, you feel less alone, less rushed, more at ease. And that's the kind of prosperity that matters most, the kind you can feel in the room even when no one's speaking. The kind you can see in the way your family gathers. The kind that doesn't just visit but stays. If you've watched this far, thank you. Thank you for giving your home the chance to feel seen. Thank you for giving your energy the space to shift. I hope something in this message reached a quiet part of you, the part that still believes that things can feel better, that peace can be restored, that your home can hold more than stress. It can hold warmth, connection, laughter, luck. May your table remember how to breathe. May your meals become soft again. And may the energy of your home gently open to welcome back all the good things that were never gone, only waiting. Until next time, take care of your space, and it will take care of you.